watching San Francisco the last 2 weeks, I mean, let's be real honest about what we saw. The Packers should have beat San Francisco. They were the better team on that day, in my opinion. The Detroit Lions, you could certainly make the argument, were the better team. And if a couple things bounce their way, they not only win the game, they potentially win by 7 to 10 points. That's my take. So I set that up knowing that the Kansas City Chiefs, they're underdogs again. They continue to make people like me look really bad, who had the Ravens -3.5. I also had to lean towards the under. I wish I had taken that one as well, but I didn't. So 0-1 in that game. Patrick Mahomes continues to make me look bad. And I have a funny feeling, and my bias is at play here, Proppy. San Francisco was my preseason Super Bowl pick. So I have a funny feeling I'm going to let my bias and my ticket control what I'm going to say here. I got to ask you, though, before I go, what do you like in this game, whether it's on a total standpoint or whether it's with the spread?
Yeah, I've been reluctant to kind of get behind Kansas City, admittedly, just for the longest time, based on how they played over the first 8 to 10 games of the season. But this team just continues to just be more and more impressive and get stronger and stronger as the season goes along. I've talked a lot about just watching them become a lot more balanced offensively with Isaiah Pacheco, Andy Reid, really leaning into the fact that they have a bell cow running back and taking advantage of that fact. But just watching Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice obviously emerging as a wide receiver one for this offense, and then just Patrick Mahomes just playing just outstanding football. And then you pair that with arguably the best defense that Patrick Mahomes has had since he's been in the NFL. I just think these Chiefs just get better and better every week, and you give an extra week to Andy Reid to prepare. All credit to Kyle Shanahan, who's obviously a fantastic football coach as well. And then we're seeing the 49ers just struggle down the stretch. And this was happening towards the end of the regular season as well. So I kind of just believe there's two teams here heading in opposite directions. I obviously have a lot more confidence in Patrick Mahomes in comparison to Brock Purdy, who was shaky at times at best yesterday. Played well enough, obviously, to get the job done. But, obviously the 49ers are tremendous talent on that roster. I do believe, it's going to be a competitive football game. But I've got to go with the Chiefs here, just the way that Mahomes is playing, the way the defense is playing, how balanced they've been. And I just kind of feel like these teams are kind of headed in different directions to a certain extent, Sia. So I'm going to lean to the Chiefs.
Interesting. Taylor DeHart said something you said pre-show, Proppy. He says, I wish I would have grabbed plus 2.5 when it popped. And certainly that's where it opened initially, and then it got bet down immediately to +1. So certainly a difference there. Taylor, good call, because Proppy and I were talking about that very same thing. Ray Brown says Chiefs 27-24. Sharon Stokes says KC 23, San Fran 16. Lower scoring affair there. All right, I'm going to go with San Francisco. I mean, listen, like I get what you're saying. I mean, this is so hard for me to sell, if I'm being honest with you. Like, and I haven't made an official pick yet. So everybody hold the phone. Maybe I'll have a creative way to bet this. The problem I'm having with San Francisco is Brock Purdy has looked pretty vulnerable over the last couple of weeks. Now, with that said, the fact that Deebo Samuel is healthy and had a very high impact, I think is really, really important, specifically as it pertains to Brock Purdy and his ability to, A, throw it downfield because he does that, but also throw it in the short area to guys like Deebo and Christian McCaffrey and maybe George Kittle. The Kansas City offense really scares me because they can get so creative and they scheme people open all the time. But I can say the same about Kyle Shanahan. I almost like the fact that Brock Purdy ran yesterday and just did everything he could possibly do to get those first downs. I think it's going to be San Francisco. I do think it's their time. I think their defense and their linebacking core specifically, I do think it makes a tough matchup for Kansas City, guys like Travis Kelce, because that front seven in particular, but that linebacking core is so good. I think it could stymie some of that short area stuff that Patrick Mahomes loves to do. So I'm going to lean San Francisco here again. My bias a little bit at play here because they were my preseason Super Bowl pick. We've got 2 weeks to bet this. We're going to have so many different shows. So I'm going to find a lot of different ways to be creative about this, whether it's team totals or first half plays. And obviously props are going to be in play as well. Buckets. I got to transition to you before we get to our official picks. We got the San Francisco 49ers -1 on a neutral site. That means nobody's at home against Kansas City 47.5 point total. Buckets, who you like?
We have neutral sites in soccer too, Sia, so thank you. I know what that what that one means. I'm going with a 27-21 correct score. San Francisco winning this one. Lock in that correct score ticket. Sia, feeling good about this one.
All right. Well, he feels very good about this one. Eric David says, great narrative. Mr. Irrelevant over the future GOAT. That is a pretty good narrative. I mean, literally Mr. Irrelevant versus Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't get much better than that.